Assalamu alaikum. We'll be starting shortly.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Ramiz.
Wa alaikum assalam, Brother Ramiz. Thank you for joining on.
Actually, I was not able to log on from my laptop. It's not allowing me, so I'm logged into the telephone.
Okay. Why don't I also have your PowerPoint presentation, and so I will go through it with you, and you just can cue
Yeah,
when to change a slide.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, awesome. Just 1 second. I want to make sure. Sister Ambreen, Sister Amna, would it be possible for you guys to send me Brother Ramiz's PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, you can start.
How many people do we have online?
Currently 20.
Okay.
All right. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربي زدني علما. ربي زدني علما. ربي زدني علما. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for joining for today, and we apologize for the delay. There was a little bit of technical difficulties. Welcome to today's primetime webinar. My name is Safia Hussein, and I will be your moderator today. Today's program is an anti-bullying workshop. We are thrilled to have each and every one of you joining us today. This isn't a topic, especially with the current events that are going on, that we should definitely touch upon, and we're going to be talking about different topics, all centered around promoting kindness, empathy, inclusivity in line with the Islamic teachings. Now, obviously, as we know, we have multiple programs. MCNA offers multiple programs throughout the year. Some of them actually include our monthly prime time, like what you guys are on currently. And this is where we talk about current topics and trends for you guys. The previous topics that we've had before, as you can see from the flyer, we've had Salah as a connection to Allah, back to school prep, entrepreneurship, talking about boredom, time management, and we actually have prime time for parents too, for parenting topics that we want to get through. MCNA and YM Junior also offers youth courses during the spring and fall. This year's fall's program is actually I'm going to start from October 28th, and it's about leadership exploration. It's a 4-week series, and you can still sign up today and join us for this. This is an exclusive class just for you. MCNA also offers a Journey Through the Quran series during the month of Ramadan, where we go into the tafsir and the background stories of the surahs that we recite on a day-to-day basis. We also have our publication. MCNA has a children's magazine called Companion. This is a magazine for kids, written by kids, and it's all across the United States. So if you guys are creative or good at writing, please send your work to companion@icna.org so that it could be published in the next issue of the Companion magazine. The fall Companion issue is publishing now, and it will be out very, very soon. Lastly, we have multiple local chapters, as you guys can see, all throughout the United States. We have from New York to all the way to Dallas and California, all of these places. So if you guys are interested in joining us in person, check out these locations, go ahead and send out an email, and we would love to have you at our local chapters. Now, obviously, social media is something that's absolutely necessary. So you should stay connected with us. We have our latest programs being updated on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube page. Definitely keep in touch, give us a subscribe and like button, and we can go from there, and you will be looped into everything that we are doing. All right, so inshallah khair, let's go ahead and start off with our tilawa. And then we're going to be starting with Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. So let's go back to what is today's program. Um, Today's program is going to be understanding the basics of bullying and why it's crucial to stop it in its tracks. We will delve into what bullying really is and the different forms that it can take and why is it so important to address it head on. We will learn about the power of empathy and kindness in Islam, emphasizing the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how we can put ourselves in someone else's shoes. We will also explore the concept of being an upstander rather than a bystander and creating a culture of inclusivity and respect. We will gain practical tips on assertive communication, understanding how to express ourselves confidently and respectfully. We'll discover the importance of building a support system through Islamic brotherhood and sisterhood, creating a network of friends, teachers, and trusted adults who can help and offer guidance, fostering a sense of unity and support as exemplified in the Sunnah. Now, for today, we have our speaker, Brother Ramiz Abed, who will guide us through the essentials of understanding bullying. Brother Ramiz graduated in 2008 with the Bachelor's of Science in Information Technology. He also graduated in 2017 with a BA in Islamic Studies. Brother Ramiz worked in the IT field from 2008 to 2014, and in 2014, he then became the Director of Communication and Outreach for ICNA's Council for Social Justice. Brother Ramiz initially joined ICNA as a volunteer on various projects, including community organizer and fundraiser, and he served as a youth coordinator for 2 years and as the president of ICNA Masjid in Alexandria, Virginia, for 2 more years before joining the ICNA's Council for Social Justice in 2014. With that introduction, I'm going to hand it over to today's speaker, Brother Ramiz, and I will pull up your PowerPoint presentation shortly. Brother Ramiz?
Okay. Yes. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So it won't be a very long presentation. It'll be a very short one, inshallah. Just to get all the main points across. So I hope you all learned something. We've done these workshops all across the country in different cities and states, and it's been very well received. Almost all of them were in person. So this is I think one of the rare occasions where I'm doing it online. So hopefully we'll get the same experience out of it. Let me know when this is on the screen.
Yes, I apologize. I'm just pulling it up right now. Brother Ramiz, I
Yes.
apologize. It wasn't sent to me just yet, so I'm just going to get it right now.
Okay.
So how was it putting this entire presentation together while we wait for the presentation?
It was good. We used various resources. We used online resources. We went to anti-bullying conferences. We talked to experts who are doing PhDs in bullying and different avenues, and we kind of put it all together and then kind of simplify the language so kids can understand it as well. So yeah, it was a long project. It took us a couple of months, but we got it done, alhamdulillah. But yeah, it was really interesting to put it all together.
Oh, that's amazing that they have all of these resources just for this topic, you know. It's something that affects the children and adults to this day. It's something that sticks with you. So these are,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, to learn these technique, you know, not just for my children, but for myself as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, I'm still waiting for it, but
No, I mean I emailed it to the email address.
Yes, I'm just trying to get it from them. Um,
Okay.
let's just continue. Have you personally ever dealt with bullying or
Yeah,
been in
yeah.
a?
When I first came to the U.S., I also got bullied because it was like I just came because I came to the U.S. when I was ninth grade. I didn't know a lot of English, so I had a lot of challenges. So I had a few bullies here and there who used to pick on me for over the year before I could learn to speak. So yeah, definitely I went through it myself as well.
SubhanAllah. No, I think this is something that one thing I notice is like I feel like children think that they are alone in this, that they're the
Hmm.
only ones that are getting bullied. Because honestly, bullying is very isolating, right? It's just you feel
Right.
like you're the only one that's getting picked on. And I think what you don't realize is, I was bullied as well, right? Like I was in fifth
Hmm.
grade when 9/11 happened, and that
Hmm.
whole process. I mean, I'll probably go into it towards the end of that, but being in that situation.
Hmm.
Um, it's very isolating. So I think it's comforting to know, hey, like adults, here we are today. Both you and I were bullied and we're over this. We're giving presentations. We're successful in our careers. So inshallah, khair, subhanAllah,
Yeah.
it's the stuff that, I wanted to relay to our attendees, like you're not alone. This is something unfortunately that many go through, but we need to have the right technique and
Right.
qualities
Okay.
to go through it. All right, can you see
Yeah.
my
Yeah. No.
screen?
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. All right, Brother Ramiz, I'm going to mute myself and you can take over. Thank you so much for being a great sport.
Okay. 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 If you can go to the first slide that says what is bullying. So we'll start there, inshallah. Okay. So bullying is basically it's defined as is it up on the screen? I just want to make sure. Hello? Is it up on the screen?
I apologize. Yes, it is.
Okay. 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 So what is bullying? Bullying is basically defined as it's unwanted or aggressive behavior, which includes three things. Meaning, if any one of these three things is missing, it's not considered bullying. It might be harassment, it might be something else, but technically speaking, they wouldn't call it bullying. So number one, hostile intent and not accident, meaning the bully, he wants to inflict some sort of emotional or physical harm on the victim in some sort or some fashion. So they actually have, so they're not playing around. It's not a joke. They actually want to hurt your feelings, or they want to cause you physical pain or emotional pain. So that's condition number one. Condition number two, there's an imbalance of power, meaning there's some sort of um, there's some sort of the bully has some sort of power over the victim. Either they're physically stronger or they have access to some private information that might embarrass the victim in some way. One is more popular than the other. One has more friends. Or sometimes it could even be adults versus kids as well. That happens as well, as you mentioned in the beginning. So there's an imbalance of power. So the bully has some sort of powers over the victim in some capacity. And number three, repetition. It happens over and over again. It's not a one-off thing. It happens over and over and over again. It doesn't stop. It could be weekly, it could be daily, it could be monthly, but it just doesn't stop. It's continuous behavior. So if that is what is technically textbook in what they call bullying, so it must have all these three characteristics to be considered bullying. Now, there is an effort to make it more strict, the definition, but right now this is what the accepted definition is. The last time I checked, this is the accepted definition of what bullying is. Types of bullying. The next slide. If we go to the next slide, type of bullying. There's a couple different ones, but the four are the main kinds. Number one is verbal. Basically anything that happens with the tongue, name calling, inappropriate comments, taunting, threatening, saying anything with your tongue to hurt the other person or hurt their feelings. Social bullying is basically leaving someone out on purpose, spreading rumors about someone, trying to embarrass someone in public in some capacity, some way. So that's called social bullying. Another aspect of social bullying is, you often see amongst elementary kids. Sometimes they'll say things like, "You can come to my party. You can come to my party," and then the inviter will point at one particular person and say, "You can't come to my party." So this is called social bullying as well, because you're trying to embarrass the person or make them feel bad. Physical bullying is obviously anything with your hands or feet, you're hitting, spitting, pushing, tripping someone, or getting physical with them in any sort of way, whether it's putting down their pants or whatever, which might also come under social bullying as well. Cyberbullying, which is the next slide, which is the major one nowadays, is basically everything that we just said, minus the physical stuff, but it happens in the online spectrum. So it could be over social media, could be via texting, forums, gaming, could be over, is mostly over social media, or spreading text messages to your friends or to the school about someone's private life in some capacity in order to embarrass them or make them feel bad about themselves. So all of these things consist of different types of bullying that we encounter today in schools. If we go to the next slide after that, the students that are most at risk of being bullied. So they've done some research. So why is it that some kids get more bullied than others? So there are certain factors. There are certain factors which indicate, basically, which make the victim more attractive to the bully in some capacity. And some of the most popular ones are these, which I have listed on this slide, which is that students who are perceived to be different from their peers, maybe because somebody's overweight, somebody's too skinny, somebody dresses a different way, or somebody's brand new in school, doesn't know anyone. So they're easy targets for bullies, so they are more likely to be bullied. Students who belong to an ethnic or religious minority, so like a hijabi girl at school might more likely be bullied. A kid named Osama at school would most likely be bullied because of their ethnic or their religious background, or what's happening today in Palestine. People who are considered to be Muslim or Arab, especially those who are from Palestinian origin, they might also be targeted and bullied by the bully and picked out basically by the bully and bullied because of their ethnic or religious background. Students who perceive to be are weak or have low self-esteem or lack confidence. So kids who don't stand up for themselves will not get help. Basically, will keep taking on the abuse over and over again. They are most likely to be bullied because the bully knows that he or she can continue to afflict harm on that person, and that they're not going to do anything about it to stop it. So they keep continuing the behavior because they know that because maybe this child is not doesn't have low self-esteem, or they have low self-confidence, or they don't know anyone who they can reach out to, or they don't know what to do in the situation, or their parents are not helpful, or whatever the situation may be. But they're in that scenario, so they're more likely to be bullied as well. Students who have few friends or who are not popular, obviously they will be more bullied as well because they have less social support to back them up. So these are there are other reasons as well, but these are the common factors that lead bullies to pick certain victims. And the reason we have this line is so people can understand that why certain kids will more likely be targeted. If we go to the next slide, which is about why kids bully. So why is it that one human being would want to inflict harm on someone else? Like, what is the reason? Why would someone want to basically pick on another individual or make them feel bad or make them hurt physically or emotionally or psychologically? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one, lack of attention at home from parents. So every child basically wants some sort of attention, right? And if they don't get it at home, actually, no, let's take another scenario. So sometimes what happens is that a kid doesn't get a lot of attention at home from his parents, and the only way he has or she has learned to get attention from parents is basically by lashing out and throwing a tantrum or doing something bad to get their attention. So when they come to school, they don't know how to interact. So they want to get attention. They don't know how to do it in a healthy way. So what they do is they do the same thing they do at home, which is that they lash out, they throw tantrums, or they do bad things in order to get attention. So people will look at them, notice them, and know that they're there. So lack of attention is a reason. Sometimes it could be an unstable home environment. Maybe they're being physically abused at home by their parents or by their older siblings, or they're going through a tough time because of poverty or some other reason, and there's a lot of pressure on the child, and that's the reason why he is coming to school and is basically lashing out because they can't take it anymore. So they're lashing out at other kids because of it. Sometimes it's because the victim, because the bully is a victim himself or herself. So we've seen cases of where a bully is bullying a certain kids in a certain particular part of the school, but in another part of the school he is being bullied as well by other kids. Sometimes kids have bad role models, so they're just copying bad behavior, usually older siblings or older friends that they have who are like basically either in bad company, and they're just kind of copying the role models. They're copying the behavior of the environment. some kids are just basically very aggressive by nature and they're dominating by nature, so they need like therapy or things like that to address their problem. So that's why also they may bully as well. Sometimes it's to fit or to be accepted by friends because they're in a particular group of friends who are also bullying, so they want to be accepted as part of that group. And as part of that group, if you have to pick on other kids if you want to be part of the group, so they basically do it, even though sometimes they don't want to, but they do because they have to fit in. Sometimes it's jealousy because they maybe she's too pretty, or maybe he's better at them at sports, or he gets better grades than them, or he, whatever the case may be. There's some sort of jealousy involved as well. Sometimes it's insecurity, because it's possible that a child has gone through some sort of a trauma. Maybe the bully went through some sort of a trauma when they were a child, and some sort of bullying. And now in order to keep that bullying away from them, they have this like defense mechanism where they bully other kids, so it will never happen to them again. And the other two are pretty common as well. No need to go too much deeply in this, but basically there are other reasons as well. So these are some of the reasons basically why kids may bully. And we have this slide because we want to teach kids that there's a human reason why kids are being bullied. Sometimes when they're being bullied, you think that your aggressor or your bully is like a super villain and nobody can stop him and he's the most powerful thing. But this is to humanize the bully, and so we understand that there's a certain background, there's certain reasons why he or she is doing what they're doing. It's not because they're inherently evil. It's just something is happening in their life and they're lashing out on you for some reason. Okay, and they're human being at the end of the day. Effects of being bullied. We know that from research that kids who are bullied are more likely to be depressed. They have anxiety, meaning they always have this feeling of nervousness or worriness, or they're always feeling uneasy about themselves. They're most likely to be sad. They're most likely to be lonely. Sometimes the child's or the victim's changing. Their eating and sleeping patterns change. Their grades can go down. They can lose interest in activities that they used to enjoy. And some small percentage might also retaliate through extreme violence as well. So we want to teach, to use this slide, we want to teach kids that, you should not be in a situation where you are bullying another child. Okay, you might think, it's funny, or you're just trying to get accepted with friends or whatever, but you have to understand that it has an effect on the child. It's a form of trauma, and it's very, very devastating, and it can last for years on end. So we have to make sure that we don't fall into that type of trap where we start picking on other kids and start putting them down or making them feel that way, because there's a lot of negative consequences that come up. Also, we want to understand other kids who may not be bullied, but they may be witnessing other kids getting bullied, that so that they can help them out, because and there's a slide coming up for that as well. But so they should help them out as well. So that's why we want to realize that there are very, very negative consequences on the child for being bullied. What to do if you're being bullied? The first thing is that you have to understand that the bully wants a reaction out of you, and they want to see you, stutter. They want to see you, shaking. They want to see like effects of their behavior on you as physically. That they're having that their behavior is having some sort of like a physical effect on you or emotional effect, and they want to see those signs in you. If you don't give them that attention, or if you don't give them that from your body language, then they'll just kind of move on, and they'll just basically get bored and move on, because then you're not getting them what they want. So that's the first thing we tell kids, is to not react. And often the bullies will lose interest and they'll move on if you just don't let it like you act, even if you have to fake it in the beginning. If you have to fake it in the way that it's not bothering you, like you don't care, like the comment has no effect on you, and you just move on. You just walk away or whatever. Like I don't care. I have other things to do in my life. If you have that type of attitude, if you can build that up. If that doesn't work, then you should tell the bully to stop in a calm and clear voice. Obviously, only if you don't feel that scared or physically threatened, then you should tell the bully to stop, and in a clear voice. Now, if that's not possible, or if you feel risk, then you should not do that. You should basically just walk away or try to get help if you can. And I have here that if the bullying continues, then basically go talk to a trusted adult. Okay, a trusted adult is someone that they will do something about it. They will help you out. It could be a teacher, a parent, a guidance counselor, a school psychologist. Nowadays, every school has some sort of resource in their school for where you can basically you can report bullying, that some bullying has occurred either to you or someone else. So that's what you should do. There's also some basic self-defense techniques, which is like avoid the bully. So sometimes bullies, they only hang around in certain parts of the school. So just don't go to those parts of the school. And sometimes the bully only picks on you if you're alone, but if you're with your friends or with a teacher, they won't pick on you. Then try to do like a buddy system, like have your friends walk with you, or have the teacher tell the teacher, some kids are bothering you, and could you please walk with them? So they'll leave you alone. So that's something that you can work on as well. Next slide, what not to do when bullied. Think it's your fault. It's definitely not your fault. You should never think that it's you. It's always the bully's fault. They should know better. So you should never blame yourself. Never fight back the bully, or never fight the bully back. Never fight back or bully a person back, because usually bullies are, remember we talked about in the definition that the bully has some sort of power balance over you, so you cannot really fight them off. I know sometimes we hear of stories of some kid was being bullied, and he hit him, then he hit the bully, and the bully let him alone. Those are very, very rare cases. In most cases, most kids don't have this option where they can just fight back, because bullies usually have much more, either they're stronger than them or they have much more backup. So this is not an option for most kids. So unfortunately I see this a lot. Like a lot of parents recommend this to their kids to just hit them in the face and he'll leave you alone, but it doesn't work like that. And it's not an option that is available for most kids. Keep it to yourself and just hope the bullying will go away. The bullying will never ever go away until you make sure that you put a stop to it. You have to make sure that you have to report it to an adult or report it to your a trusted adult who can make it stop, because otherwise the bullying will not stop, especially if the kid has it out for you for whatever reason. Skip school or avoid school, after school activities. So no child should have this much power over you where they're basically having an effect on your grades and your after school activities. Don't be afraid to tell. Telling is not tattling. So a lot of bullies say that you tell someone you're going to be a tattletale, you're going to be tattling. Telling is not tattling, because tattling is when you're trying to get somebody in trouble. Okay, that's what tattling is, for whether justified or not. But this is different. But tattling is so that's tattling. But telling someone is basically, so if someone needs help or something like that, that's something completely different, and it's so it's definitely the right thing to do. And obviously, you should never hurt yourself either, because it's not hopeless. People will help you out, but you have to reach out and get help from a trusted adult. Next slide is the one, if you see someone being bullied, what to do in that situation. You can talk to a parent, a teacher, or another adult that you trust. They need to know, because adults cannot help you if they don't know what's going on. And I do understand a lot of kids do complain that they don't trust adults, because they don't trust in the sense that they don't think that they will help them, or they will ignore them. They will not do anything about it, and which is true, because most adults will not do anything about it. Even the parents will not do anything about it, unfortunately. But you have to find someone to help you out, and that's why we say that's why we said talk to a trusted adult. And like I said, there are usually people dedicated at the school for this type of stuff. So you should definitely report it to whoever that particular person is at your school, designated to take care of these types of cases. So if you see someone else being bullied, talk to a parent, teacher, or another adult that you trust, and you can keep it anonymous. You can go to a teacher and say, I saw so-and-so being bullied. Please don't say my name. I'm just letting you know his name is this, and blah, blah, and this is what happened. This is what I saw. Be kind to the kid being bullied. So this basically, when the bully is bullying another child, they're breaking them down, right? They're killing their self-esteem. They're killing their self-confidence. So when you go and be nice to the kid, you're rebuilding him back up, or rebuilding her back up, and letting them know not everybody's like that. So it's very important to sit with them, talk to them, and make them feel welcome, and say, are you okay? Especially if the bully has nothing out for you. He's only picking on the other kid, right? And if you're friends with the bully, then you should tell them to, leave the kid alone and not pick on them. Because as a friend of that bully, you should be responsible enough to tell him or her to stop. And if the kid doesn't know you, if he's not picking on you, and you don't know the kid, he's not your friend, then again, the same thing. If you feel safe enough and you know the bully is not going to come after you, you should definitely tell the bully to stop as well and leave the kid alone. if you feel that if you try to like intervene, try to tell the bully to stop, he might come after you, then you can just kind of, take the child away from that situation scenario, like saying, hey, the so and so teacher is calling you, and just kind of remove him from that situation, safely, if you are able to do so safely. Another thing we can do, kids can do, they can get involved on a, they can be on the school safety committee. They can implement some sort of anti-bullying program or workshop or campaign at their school, because research has shown that when kids themselves create an atmosphere at the school that they will not allow bullying on their premises, then bullying actually goes down than adults telling them not to bully. And so peer pressure is very important here as well. So if there's a school that has a healthy environment where if kids themselves keep out bullying, and they report bullying or they pick on the bully, then kids are less likely to bully others, because they know that other kids will stand up for this kid. But if they know nobody's going to stand up for them, then they're just going to continue that behavior. So this is why we tell kids, don't be like a spectator. Either try to help the child who's being bullied, or report it to a teacher, and just don't be a bystander, because it's very important. Just like if you were being bullied, you would want kids to help you. You have to make sure that when you see someone else being bullied, you try to help them as well, just as you would want to be helped too in that situation. So do unto others what you want for yourself, what you love for yourself. And the Prophet also said, love for your brother what you love for yourself. So if you are ever in that situation, then you should definitely do that as well. So this is a quick version for the bullying workshop for kids. I know I went through it a little quickly, but usually I make it a lot more interactive, where we actually do like a question and answer session, and we do small activities when it's in person. But it's kind of online, so it's kind of restricted in that sense. But this is a quick summary of the the workshop we have. And if there's some questions, I can take that from now. I do have to leave at 7:50 max, but I can take questions until then if there are any. Hello? Is the moderator still here?
I am. I just was talking with being muted. Thank you so much for the program. It was super interactive and super informative. I do have one question that came through from the crowd. It says, would you recommend Safe to Tell?
I'm sorry, would I recommend what?
Safe to Tell.
Face to tell?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that phrase.
Safe to tell. Oh, it's actually like a number that someone can call, and you can submit your report there.
I've never read about that. Actually, that's interesting. I didn't know about that. It might be something new that came up. I'm not sure. We prepared this workshop a couple of years ago, so I don't know if there are more resources available. But if it's something that is designed for bullying, I mean, I would definitely look into it. And I would definitely try it, but definitely, because you're going to be trying different scenarios in different situations. So if this particular number is designed for anti-bullying reporting or things like that, I wouldn't mind using it. Again, I have to look at it first. I don't know how it works or how it's connected. Is it a national hotline or is it like a local thing? I'm not sure what that means yet. So.
Okay, that sounds great. What's it called? Any other questions? I had a couple more that come through. Would inflicting emotional harm, example, burning the bullies as a security measure, be appropriate? No, that's not appropriate at all. I don't even think we need to answer that one. All right. Next one is I think that's it for right now. Yep, that's it. It says there's nothing else that they put in. Okay, how to build confidence in kids to share what's happening.
Share what? Share like share what's
Bullying.
happening in Palestine, or
No, bullying. Like
Okay,
basically, how can you get?
right. Okay. I guess first and foremost is, building that trust. I mean, if so, sometimes kids will come to you at home and they'll give you some signs that something's happening at school. Like some kid is, you know, um, picking on me and they're doing this, and you have to investigate further. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean he's picking on you? And you have to go through the definition. You have to make them feel comfortable that you care about the topic, and not like, oh, okay, oh, that's nice, like not ignore it. So when they come to you about a situation, you have to make sure that you actually listen and that you actually interact with the child. Like, what do you mean he was picking at? What did he exactly say? What happened? How long has this been going on? Now you're showing the child that you actually care. You want to take care of. You actually want to care. You actually care, and you want to do something about it, right? But even before that, because the kid already has an image of you in their mind of how you deal with situations. So based on that, they will determine if they want to talk to you as well. So it's very important that we connect with our kids. We have open communication. We talk to them. We take interest in their topics and their subjects, so they understand, so they trust us, that they can share information with us, and that we will take it seriously. So that's one of the ways to do it. But again, sometimes a kid will come to you, and I tell this parents all the time: if a child comes to you complaining about bullying or some kid is picking on them, and you tell them to ignore it, right? They've already tried ignoring it, okay? Because ignoring is the first response. It's the natural response through a attack from a bully, whether it's verbal or physical. The kid will ignore it. But if they're coming to you now, that means they've already tried ignoring it, because that's the number one advice kids hear from their parents, which is to ignore it and it'll go away. But it does not. But if they're coming to you, that means they've already tried ignoring it. So now you have to do something about it. So when they come to you with any type of hint that smells like bullying, you have to investigate. You have to ask questions, and you have to follow up with them. Like, what happened? Did he pick on you again? What happened? Did you tell the teacher? What did the teacher say? And then you have to get involved. So that's how they will trust you.
100%. I would like to add to that if you notice that your child was normally okay with going to school, enjoyed going to school, and all of a sudden they don't want to go to school and they say they hate school, or they're really quiet about it and they're not sharing about school, that's also an indicator that, hey, something is wrong, that you need to check in with them and find out. A lot of, in my situations, I've been in a couple places, and since my son now is like in 8, 9 years old, where like we find out, kid hates to go to school. Not my son, but someone that we know, right? Like when we started investigating, like, okay, why does he hate to go to school? He used to love going, then he gets good grades. What's going on? Turns out he was being bullied, right? So as a parent, you have like an intuition that like, hey, something is going wrong. So check in with your child, talk to them, build that rapport. They're not going to come to you out of nowhere. You have to already create this rapport with them so that they do come to you.
Yes, that is God. I actually have I actually have a longer version of this seminar where I have a section especially just for the parents themselves, and I teach them how to do it. And if you want to see that one, it's already available on YouTube. So just type in my name, anti-bullying workshop. It should come up. I did it at the Epic Masjid in Texas a couple years ago. So you can watch it over there. It has the full video version of it with the slides. So in that section, there's actually a parent section in there as well, where I talk about all these things, the things that parents can do to stop bullying. And I talk about a lot of stuff in there about parents as well, that specifically parents need to pay attention to, just FYI.
Yeah, I think I'm getting more questions about for parents, right? So like one of the questions that came through is like, how do we navigate discussions about cyberbullying and online safety with children in a way that is accessible as well as impactful?
Yeah. So there are so many resources available online now. The U.S. government has their own like stopbullying.gov website. It has so many resources on how to talk to your kids about bullying. And there are so many articles that you can read as well. There's certain apps you can download on your phone that teach you how to talk to your kids about bullying. There are YouTube videos available about how to talk to your kids about cyberbullying, how to talk to your kids about bullying, what to do. Or you can either show them those videos. Some are designed for kids, to tell kids. If you feel uncomfortable talking, I know a lot of parents may not feel comfortable for whatever reason, maybe the language barrier or whatever it is. They might not feel comfortable, but you can ask questions. So you can find videos online, YouTube videos that explain bullying to kids in a very like picture format, picture away with cartoons. And then after it's over, don't just stop. Have a conversation about it with your child. What did you learn? What did you get out of it? Do you understand what's happening here? Do you understand what to do? Things like, so you can have that conversation after having a child. So you don't have to do the presentation style, but you can do the conversation afterward that happens. So that's one of the tools you can use as well. Parents can use as well to talk to the kids about bullying.
Yeah. The other thing I would want to say is, like, as parents, you should know what platforms are out there, be aware what's going on these days, what are the trends, and then see what your kid's doing too. Don't be unaware or oblivious to what they're watching, what they're on, what they're interacting with, right? It goes from anywhere from Roblox all the way to Fortnite or any other game that they have out there, and it's there's various different platforms. So educate yourself too. Don't be unaware of what's out there.
Yes,
The other
definitely. Especially if you have sons and you have, like, if you send them to gaming rooms and stuff, then you should definitely be aware of what type of rooms they're entering and what they're doing, who they're talking to, because it's very dangerous out there. And I always tell parents that, like, you wouldn't send your kid to a very dangerous place, right, all by themselves without protection. You would want somebody to be there. So internet is like that. Internet is like a wild beast. It's like anything goes out there. And so you have to make sure, you need to understand where your kids are going, what's happening, because there's a lot of dangerous things on the internet and dangerous people. And so you have to make sure your kids are protected. And you can download softwares today, and you can track like what your kids are doing, what's happening. So just for the safety of your kids. So you should look into those things, and you should be monitoring them all the time. Yes, not all the time, but in a healthy way. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Moderation is key. There was one question that came through that says, is it okay to be a bystander?
Like I said in the presentation, if you are able to help, then you should help. It's not okay to be a bystander just for the sake of, like, if somebody's being harmed in some way, you should either try to help the person who's being harmed, or try to get help from somewhere else. Most bystanders don't get involved because they feel like they don't want to be the one attacked. In that situation, you should try to get someone else to get basically help. If you can't help, for whatever reason, if you're scared or whatever, or you are unable to, then you should try to go find someone in authority to come and help that person. So if you're a kid at school and you don't like what you're seeing, right, to the kid, in that situation, you cannot help. Don't just sit there and just watch, and then go get a teacher and say, hey, there's some kid is being bullied, or some kid is being beat up, or whatever the case is. But please don't. You can be anonymous. You can tell the teacher, I don't want my name, and things like that. You can be anonymous. But you should definitely, like I said, love for your brother what you love for yourself. Just like you would want someone to help you if someone's pounding on you or someone's picking on you, you would want people to help you somehow, some way, right? Either get some help or help them, or intervene and help. Then you should do the same. You should do the same for other people as well. And going through school here as well, there were cases where, like, I'm friends with a particular person, but he's like bullying another kid, right? I didn't know these things. I was just, I wouldn't stop them because he was okay with me. But if I have that type of relationship with that bully or with that person where I can tell him to stop, okay, and he's not going to come after me, you feel safe enough. Or if you're stronger than the bully or whatever, obviously then you should definitely help, because if you're stronger than the bully, then you should definitely intervene and say, hey, stop it, leave him alone or whatever, or get him off him, or things like that. But if you are unable to, then you need to find other avenues. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's good to be a bystander, because it just repeats the cycle. It doesn't stop it.
Definitely. Absolutely agree. And it goes in line with what Islam teaches us too, right? Like, if you if you see something wrong, you take action, right? You do physically try to stop it. If you can't do that because you're too scared or whatever, then you say it, right? Use your tongue to stop it. And if that too, then say it in your heart. But in this case, we don't want to be a bystander. We want to be proactive. We're Muslims, we're strong, and then we can go from there. Definitely go back to exactly what Brother Rami said. Trusted adults, right? Someone that can help you so that you're protected as well. But inshallah, that's something that I would recommend as well. The last question that I have for you, because I know you're on time, like I'm so sorry, I'm going to push it, is that, can you share any tips about staying confident and assertive in the face of bullying? And I will let you go after this one.
I'm sorry, repeat the question one more time.
Can you share any tips on staying confident and assertive in the face of bullying?
Um, I don't have a particular text in mind right now. But there are, but if you just grow, I do have in my parents' version of it, I do have some guidelines on how to raise confident kids, and I specifically talk about certain things that you can do with your kids in order to raise confident kids, and so it's because your kid should not be confident just in that situation, because your kid will be confident if will only be confident in that situation if you actually grown him or her up in a confident environment and they're actually confident in life in general. So you cannot like isolate the confidence just in that situation, because if they're not confident in other parts of their life or in life in general, they're not going to be confident in that situation. So if you want your child to be confident in that situation, they have to be confident overall. And there's a lot of articles and books written on how to raise confident kids. You can like Google that title, like how to raise confident kids. You can put that into Google, and there's so many articles that have been written on this that you can find. And there are, I believe there are YouTube videos as well, and I talk about it in my slides as well on the parents version on how to raise confident kids. So if your child is a confident kid overall, then they will be confident in that situation as well on bullying. And you do want them to be confident, because, like I said in the workshop, kids like to pick on kids who have low self-confidence because they never stand up or they never get help. They have low self-esteem. So it's very, very important to raise kids who have self-confidence, who have high self-esteem, and and they're not bruised by like this, like people verbally saying things to them or pushing them, things like that. They know how to get help. They're not scared, things like that. So for that to happen, you have to make sure you grow your kids overall, that confident overall in their general aspects of their life, so they can be confident in that situation as well.
No, definitely. It doesn't come overnight. It's something that they are taught from a very young age, and that actually leads to who are the bullies, who are the bullied, who are the ones that are defending. So definitely get that. Um, are you short on time now? Do you have to leave?
If there's more question, I can take one more. That's fine.
There's one last question that came through, is that can you suggest ways to handle disagreements or conflict without resorting to bullying? So we come into situations where like kids are become very, very assertive, and they're like, no, I want to do it this way, or we're gonna play this, and it ends up being bullying without them even meaning to. So how should we handle this?
Who's we? We as in the kids or the parents or the teachers?
Oh, how can you suggest ways to handle, I guess, as a parent?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if your child is the one who is doing this, then you have to then sit them down and make them understand. Like, hey, this is not how we do things. We have to share. We have to, you can't just get what you want always. There are certain boundaries. You have to respect those boundaries. Just like you don't want things to be, just like you don't want others to force things on you. You should not force things on others. So there has to be some sort of discipline involved. On the parent side, again, I talk about a slide with the parent section where I talk about how if your child is a bully, how to deal with that situation with your kid. But if your child is the one who's being bullied, and then if that's the situation, then we go through what we talked about here. Basically, they should try to tell. They can share their thought, but if the kid is being aggressive, they can either walk away or they can come in and tell their parents, and basically, and then parents can intervene if the situation is like getting really, really out of control. So it's situational dependent.
No, definitely. And then I would like to add, like, maybe from more of the kids' perspective, is like, or it goes into a little bit of parenting as well, is that, you know, when you, especially with Muslim children, we need to teach them the concept of shura, right? Like, hey, consult with all your friends. What majority of people
Yeah,
say, we go with that. Have everyone's voices be heard, right? A lot of these
correct.
characteristics and attributes have to do with sunnah and how to raise your children to be upright Muslims with good character. And if you keep these
Yeah,
in mind, you're not going to be a bystander. You're not going to be a bully. If we have the concept of shura embedded in our children, they're not going to be aggressive. They're going to calm down and put that. So, you know, I as a parent perspective, if I had a child who's a bully, I have to look back at the parenting that I did? Why are they a bully? You know, that's something that you need to reflect upon yourself and your parenting or their environment around you, because these are characteristics that don't come overnight or in a day. These are things that you're instilling in them as children, to the point where they grow
Yes.
up. Yeah. So
Yeah,
inshallah,
yeah, yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
The last, yeah, yeah. I would add to that. Yes, I definitely agree with that. But it could also be, maybe you're not doing it, but you're just not maybe just unaware the type of environment that they are in. Maybe bad friends or whatever it may be, or older siblings or whatever. They're picking it up from somewhere. So just keep that in mind as well. So maybe a parent will say, "I'm not doing it. I'm a nice person. I raised it. You know, I always tell them to be nice and this and that." Okay, well, they picked it up from somewhere. So something, you're not being watchful about something. So something is happening in their life that they're not either telling you about, or they're doing it secretly, or they have certain categories of friends which may not be a bad environment for them. That's why I tell parents to make sure you do have to know who your who your kids' friends are, who are these people, because you have to make sure that they're in a good environment.
100%. 100%. I think that's all that we have for right now. Any last words, inshallah khair? If not, we'll go ahead and end the program.
No, thank you for inviting me. It was good. Alhamdulillah. Like I usually like to do these things in person because I like to make it more interactive, but this was pretty good as well. But again, for parents, if you want to watch the full version of it, the video, you can definitely go to YouTube and just go to the Epic Masjid and just type in Brother Ramiz Abid anti-bullying workshop, and I have the full version, including the parent section.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ramiz. Thank you so much again for this informative topic and answering the questions that people had. I will definitely be looking at the parenting workshop that you did. And inshallah khair, thank you again for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. All right, guys, we have a few minutes left. And so, inshallah khair, I actually wanted to share a couple things, and I did kind of share it in the beginning of this program as well. So as some of you may remember, my name is Safia Hussein. I was someone who grew up here, went through MCNA just like you guys. And so I actually want to talk about, especially with today's current events, what's happening in Palestine, the war that's happening there, and the fact that Muslims are being targeted. You know, this situation is very similar to my situation when I was like 10, 11 years old, right? This was when 9/11 happened, right? And Muslims were blamed. They were called terrorists. They were called all these sorts of names, right? And the bullying, you know, I was at elementary school. I just started wearing hijab. It wasn't very limited to just, you know, name calling, right? They would pull my hijab off, right? Like my friends that I was always friends with didn't want to sit with me anymore, right? There was a lot of things that I got through that I didn't understand as a 10, 11-year-old, right? I didn't even know how to explain it because I was like, what just happened? You know, like I was friends with these people, they're not friends with me anymore. And I didn't really understand what was happening. And I want you guys to understand that, yeah, that's normal. So sit down with your parents, talk about what's happening right now. How can we be safe? Talk about what's going on in class. Did anyone change their behavior with you? Right? And so what we need to talk about is that bullying may happen and may happen exactly because of the way we look, the way that we are, our physique, but it also may happen because we are Muslim, right? So what do you do in that case? And I have to say, as someone who was bullied because I was Muslim, because I was friends with those people before, but a switch flipped, you know, when they realized I was Muslim, that I was different. I would say, one, it's okay to let those friends go. It's okay not to fit in. Two, find Muslim friends within the school. Find Muslim companions that you could sit with, talk to, and be friends with. If it's not in your school, right? I didn't have any Muslim students in my classroom. Find solace in the masjid. Start going to masjid programs, masjid activities. Find Muslim friends at the masjid because it's Muslims that stick together that can make a difference, right? When the bullying got really, really bad, guys, I actually would start to sit in the classroom. So, and you know, this actually happened in middle school too. So like I would find a teacher that I was very, very close to, that supported me, that understood me, that didn't judge me. that accepted me for who I am defended me, and I would at lunch sit down in her classroom, help her out with her task or whatever it needed to be, right? So talk to a teacher, talk to your parents, talk to the imam at the masjid, find another group of friends that can help and support you, right? So just be safe, right? If something happens, talk to someone, talk to friends, stick with Muslim friends or support or friends that support you 100%, right? And we can move on from there. I hope that this program was beneficial for you guys. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but alhamdulillah, this was a great program, definitely a needed topic in this day and time. And I really, really thank you guys all from being here. So inshallah khair, and we thank Brother Ramiz for doing this amazing program. Definitely check out his YouTube page, Brother Ramiz at Epic and Bullying. Let's look it up and see his more interactive and more informative version, especially with parents. I appreciate your guys' time this evening, and inshallah, let's go ahead and wrap it up. All right, so أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأستغفرك وأتوب عليك. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining. This program will be available on YouTube, so you guys can check it out. Please follow us there. You'll be able to see the webinar uploaded there. Thank you guys so much. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.